Okay, I think we can start now. We are live.
Yes, we are live. And I'm making you the host.
Yes. Very good evening, everyone. Welcome from SNCC Rehab Foundation, and I'm Harshali Kharche. I am the founder and director of SNCC Rehab Foundation. SNCC, we are based in Nagpur. SNCC is basically Special Needs Integration Center. Our motto here is to create awareness about various disabilities, sensitize the society about the inclusion, acceptance, and various interventions, to establish the support system for the parents in various areas like advocacy, emotional, mental health, children's development, and their habitat. Like finally, is a home, residential hub. Sorry. Uh, and again in finance sector, we need to create a various support system in finance sector also. Also to sensitize the government personal and eminent personality of the society about challenges by special needs parents. In Nagpur, we are going to introduce various centers under one roof like recreational community support center, rehabilitation integration center, vocational training center, daycare. This is basically our motto here is to provide a conducive environment for children with special needs so as to facilitate their development and help them into develop their potential to the fullest and enhance their independence and enable them, make them to well adapted individual in society. So these facilities, these are all coming up projects. Our motto basically here doing webinar series is to educate parents and develop their perspective towards the right kind of interventions and treatments. So here we are doing today here we are doing homeschooling. I mean, very important topic because in this pandemic of corona, I think various families has to start the homeschooling, so we thought we would take up this topic. So today we have Miss Preeti Dikshit with us to guide on this topic. Love friend and my everything, I mean the snake, she is helping me a lot in this journey. We are just started. So she is a special need mom who has been homeschooling her son for last 8 years. Also, she is the author of Preeti Dikshit Autism Mom. It is a blog and on the Facebook, and the mentor of SNCC Rehab Foundation. Also, she is currently writing a book about her autism journey with her son, titled "A Twinkle in His Eyes." I mean, I'm just waiting for that. I mean, I'm sure this will be a memoir and a guide for parents of children with autism. So I welcome everyone and welcome Preeti Dikshit.
Thank you, Harshali.
You can take over for the homeschooling, and parents, I will be asking a set of questions which are repeatedly asking in group. So after that set of common questionnaire, we will start the questions from the parents. And please keep all questions like rational, which can help everyone. Individual questions would be very difficult to, I mean, answer in this session. Thank you. I'll just okay, Preeti, you can start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. Thanks, Harshali, for that introduction. So I will start by just going over our homeschooling journey in brief. And then I will take parents' questions after the frequently asked questions. So my son is now 18 years old, and I started homeschooling him when he was 10 years old. how that happened was that he used to go to mainstream school until 4th grade. He was very intelligent. He used to come first in class. Um, However, because of autism and a lot of sensory issues, a lot of social issues, he was finding it difficult to be in school for the whole day. And after his 4th grade, when he was about to be promoted to 5th grade, I got a call from school to come and meet the principal. And they told us that somebody is saying something. No. And they told us that they cannot support our son in the school anymore, because from 5th grade onwards, he needs to have 100% attendance, and they don't have that kind of facility to support the special needs of my son. And they asked me to, look for another school. I was actually devastated at that point of time, because I thought, here is my son who is doing so well in school, doing so well in academics, and yet the school is refusing to allow him to continue in the school only for the reason of not having full attendance. um, Anyway, after that I decided, okay, let me try in other schools. But going from 4th grade to 5th grade, getting admission in any mainstream school with the fact that my son had autism was extremely difficult. And all these schools told me, Ma'am, why don't you go to a special school? I think a special school will be better for you. I didn't feel that a special school would be suitable for my son, because he was good at academics. But I still did that because I was desperate. I was like, no school is willing to take him. So if a special school is willing to take him, fine. That is also okay. And I approached special schools, and special schools told me that my son was too intelligent to be in a special school. So I was, completely flummoxed. I didn't know what to do. I said, mainstream schools are not taking, special schools are not taking. What does that leave me with? And that is how our homeschooling journey started. So it was more out of no choice than out of choice. But what started off as having no choice has turned into such an amazing journey. And it has given my son so many opportunities to do so many things. At the same time, taking into consideration his special needs, and giving him the flexibility to not only learn the way he needs, but also to explore things beyond traditional schooling. So this is a very brief overview of our homeschooling journey. I think, Harshali, we can start with the frequently asked questions first.
Okay.
Yeah.
First is like, what is homeschooling?
Yeah, so a lot of parents ask me what homeschooling is. And I tell them that homeschooling is nothing but schooling at home. It is not really that simple, but instead of sending your child to school to learn, you teach your child at home. How you teach your child at home depends completely on you. You can teach your child yourself. You can hire a private tutor to teach your child. You can hire a special educator to teach your child. But basically, instead of sending your child to school, you are teaching the child at home. It's that simple. That is what homeschooling is.
Yeah. Okay. Next question we have, like, what about schedules? I mean, how we do it, and what is schedule?
Yeah, many parents have this question also. So this question is a bit, it has a lot of things that you have to consider. For example, with special needs children, when you're homeschooling a special needs child, it's very different compared to homeschooling a neurotypical child. I see a lot of parents who are homeschooling neurotypical children. are focused primarily on academics. However, in our case, for example, when I started homeschooling Rohan, there were a lot of needs apart from academics, that he needed to take care of. There were a lot of other things that he needed to learn apart from academics. And homeschooling gave me an opportunity to focus on all of those. What was happening when he was going to regular school was that regular school was taking up so much time and energy in the day that we did not have time to work on ADLs. We did not have time for therapies. It was all very, very stressful. And this was affecting my son physically. He started falling sick often. He was very anxious. So what I did with homeschooling was I decided that I will not just focus on academics, but I will also work on all these aspects side by side, because my final goal is to make my son independent. And in order to make my son independent, he was not even eating on his own at that point of time. So on the one hand, he was coming first in class. On the other hand, I had to feed him. So it was very, very, not on par. The different, and this is true of all our kids, I think. The different skills are not on par. So for my homeschooling schedule, I scheduled it according to our daily routine, according to the daily routine of the whole family. And every activity was something that I had to teach him. So we started off in the morning with brushing his teeth. He did not know how to brush his teeth at that point of time. So the first session in the morning would be to teach him how to brush his teeth. Then after that, breakfast, teaching him how to eat on his own. Bath, teaching him how to take a bath on his own. Then we had, I would have about 2 hours of academics a day. I would have 1 hour of occupational therapy. My son needed physiotherapy because he had severe hypotonia and neuromuscular issues. So we had 1 hour of physiotherapy. Then in the evenings, we would go to the park. I would take him to the park, to the children's play area. That itself was a huge learning experience for him. So 1 hour was spent in that. 1 hour was spent in going out grocery shopping. And I used to, use him like a helper to buy groceries. And basically every chore that I did at home, I was a stay-at-home mom. So I was there with him full time. Every chore that I did at home, I involved him in that chore, be it, cooking, be it cleaning, dusting, be it putting the clothes for washing. And I had basically told him that, Rohan, you are my helper. I need your help to do all these things. And that was very motivating for him, because he thought, oh, I'm, doing something. Another thing that had happened in school was that, he had started feeling that he is not good at many things. So apart from academics, he started feeling that, he was not good at making friends. He was not good at sports. And the other children were also, telling him. So homeschooling, in a way that encouraged him to learn new things, gave him a real boost of confidence. So for scheduling, this is how I went about it. Everybody can schedule their homeschooling according to their own routines, priorities, goals, needs of the child. There is no right or wrong way to go about this. There is no right or wrong way.
Okay. Next, we will come on syllabus. What syllabus have you followed, and how everybody should go about it?
Okay, so when we are talking about syllabus now, I'll specifically talk about the academic aspect of it. Although for me, syllabus means self-help skills, sensory integration, occupational therapy, everything, you know. But when we talk about academic syllabus, what I did was I followed CBSE syllabus because I felt that that was the easiest for him to understand. So I got CBSE textbooks of that grade to familiarize myself with the syllabus of that year. Because when we started, Rohan was supposed to go to 5th grade. However, when I started homeschooling him, I realized that even though technically he was supposed to be in 5th grade, he was at different levels in different subjects. So at English, he was at the 6th grade level. Maths, he was at a 3rd grade level, and I wondered how he was managing in school because of this disparity. But when I realized this, what I did was, instead of sticking to a very hard and fast curriculum, where I say, okay, Rohan is now in 5th grade, so I have to do all the 5th grade syllabus. What I did was I first tested to see how much he knew in every subject, and I started from there. So we were doing 3rd grade maths, we were doing 4th grade science, we were doing 5th grade social studies. It was like all over the place. But my goal was to teach him the concepts correctly. It was at that point of time not so much about giving exams or passing an exam. It was about giving knowledge, and it was about teaching him how to learn and making him as independent as possible, even with the learning. I didn't want to bog him down or make him feel overwhelmed. And that worked really well for us. So I use CBSE books. I would even use ICSE books sometimes, because sometimes I felt like a ICSE book was explaining it better than a CBSE book. So basically, I used to go to the bookstores and just browse through the books and see what I liked and which suited my way of teaching my son. I also used a couple of software programs we had at that point of time. This is I don't even know if they're available anymore. One of them was called Reader Rabbit. One of them was Jumpstart. So all these interactive educational softwares also helped develop his interest a lot. Yeah, Harshali.
Yeah, okay. Okay, after syllabus, I think main questions would be, what about exams? How you have given exams?
I have not given exams yet. So my plan for Rohan is to give the 10th standard exam straight away. All homeschooling parents have the option of giving exams through NIOS. That is primarily the board that accepts homeschoolers. NIOS is the National Institute of Open Schooling. It is a central board, just like CBSE, and it is specifically catering to homeschoolers, or children who have not been able to go to school for some reason, maybe because they did not have the financial means to attend school, or maybe they had some health issues, or maybe they were into sports. So NIOS is for everybody who was not able to attend school for some reason or the other, and it is very, very well suited for us homeschoolers. Should I go into NIOS in a little bit detail, Harshali?
Yes, I mean, I think parents must be also wondering ki how, I mean, can we do the exams directly 10th, or in between
Or
skip grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I mean, how
yeah.
can do
So
it?
for NIOS has 3 levels, which they call Open Basic Education. Basic Education, OBEA, OBEB, and OBEC. So OBEA is kind of equivalent to 1st grade. OBEB is OBEA is equivalent to 3rd grade. OBEB is equivalent to 5th grade, and OBEC is equivalent to 8th grade, and then we have the secondary exam, which is the 10th standard exam. Parents can give the 3rd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade exams if they want, but it is not compulsory to give these exams in order to qualify for sitting for the 10th standard exam. So you can straight away opt to give the 10th standard exam, but some parents find it better. They find the structure useful. So they opt for giving the OBE A, B, C exams as well.
Okay. And what about socialization?
Yes.
Because
This is a big, yeah, I
because
know.
if we are not sending kids to the school, I mean, mostly we do this mistake that we send kids to socialize. So how you
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I tell parents to recall their school days and to recall if they were allowed to talk in class. Were they allowed to socialize in class?
No, not at all.
Okay. So, the biggest misconception that I realized that I had when I started homeschooling Rohan, I was also very much concerned about this. I was also sending my son to school primarily for socialization, because otherwise he was finding the environment quite stressful. And of course, for academics, for learning, but of for socialization. And that was my biggest fear, that if I am not able to send him to school, what is going to happen? Is he going to be like a complete loner? But then I realized there are so many other ways for him to socialize, and how much socialization really happens in school. Because when I think back to my childhood, I remember that every time I opened my mouth to speak out of turn, I would be asked to keep quiet. I attended Rohan's school once. I had asked the teacher to allow me to sit in class because he was not sitting in class, and I wanted to see what is happening, what is going on, because of which he is finding it difficult to sit in class. So I was sitting in the back bench and observing, and the moment kids start talking amongst themselves, the teacher says, "Please be quiet, class." So I was like, where is the socialization? Okay, so during lunch break, what was happening was majority of the kids were out running and playing with each other, and Rohan was unable to do that. So it was not really happening. What I realized with my son was that our children need guided socialization. You can't just throw them out, and it's like throwing out a person who can't swim into the swimming pool. It's like, okay, I'm throwing you into the swimming pool and you can swim. That is literally how socialization feels to our kids. So just putting a child in school is not going to take care of socialization. Just taking a child to the park is not going to take care of socialization. It has to be guided by the parent until the child knows what he has to do, until the child is comfortable enough, until he has learned how to take the initiative and to socialize with other children. It has to be guided by the parent. So the easiest point for socialization is, of course, children's play areas. Whether it's in your apartment complex or in your neighborhood, you can take your child to the park and you can gather other children around your child. This is for peer interaction. You can gather other children around your child, and you can create some game and get them involved. And because for Rohan, it was very difficult to approach other kids on his own. He would just kind of sit back and just watch what everybody else was doing. So this is one of the things that I did for socialization. The other thing that I did was by that time I had told my close family and friends about Rohan's autism. So all of them were very understanding about his needs. And they in school, people had started, other kids had started saying things like, Rohan, why do you do this? Why are you like this? And they used to laugh, and they used to find it funny, whatever, because when he was excited, he would flap his hands, or he would jump on his toes. and he had these autistic behaviors, he had these quirks, and they found it very weird. And of course, children, by the time they are in third grade, fourth grade, neurotypical children are very much advanced socially. They know about okay, this person seems different, and then you tease the person because of the differences. All that starts happening. So guided socialization also helped with that, because I could monitor how the other kids were around my son. Another thing I did was, like I said, I told my family and friends. So I used to take him everywhere. Whenever I was going out to meet my friends, I would take him. I would take him to the neighbors' houses. I would take him to meet my family. I would attend social functions with people knowing that he has autism. So he may have a meltdown at any point of time, but they all knew this. So none of them were shocked, and none of them reacted in any way. And I think this was the biggest help in socializing, because he started feeling accepted by everyone. He started feeling like he was part of the family, he was part of the friend circle, he was just like everybody else. There was nothing odd about him, separate about him. Everybody was accepting him everywhere. Also, there is this uh, thing that I hear a lot of parents, what about peer interaction? What about peer interaction? And I want to tell them that peer interaction is inherently difficult for our kids. But peer interaction is not the only socialization, right? When you interact with your child, you are socializing. When your maid interacts with your child, that is socializing. When neighbors, friends, family interact with your child, that is socializing. It doesn't have to be just peer interaction. I mean, in real life, how much peer interaction do we really do once we pass out of college? We are dealing with people of all ages. We are interacting with people of all ages. So don't force your child to interact with peers. Allow him to interact with anybody he feels comfortable interacting with. Don't limit it in any way. No, but he's not doing peer interaction. Okay, fine, he's not doing peer interaction at this point of time. He will do it later on, maybe when he's comfortable. My son used to be so scared of babies. He would be so scared of babies. He would literally feel like babies are like, these weird creatures which you don't know what they do, when they will do what, and he would like just stay away. So I felt, oh, why, he is doing like this. And in the beginning, I would like, no, Rohan, see, what a cute baby, and you can go, give the baby a hug or whatever, and then he would be like, no, but then eventually he got used to that also. And now he loves babies. He my cousin's little kids, he loves being there. He's very protective about them. So don't stress out too much. Just keep providing your kids opportunities to socialize, and eventually they will. Don't worry too much about it. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Next, is homeschooling legal in India?
Yes. Homeschooling is very much legal in India, although there is no regulatory body as such. But even the Ministry of Education recognizes homeschoolers, and homeschoolers can give, in fact, if they want to go back to school, they are technically allowed to, go back to school. So yeah, from the legal perspective, there is no issue in homeschooling. You can, yeah.
Okay. What are pros and cons of homeschooling?
Pros and cons of homeschooling. Some parents also, ask me whether homeschooling is a better option for our children compared to mainstream schooling. But not necessarily. So what I would say is that if your child is comfortable in a mainstream school, please by all means continue mainstream schooling. If your child is doing well in a special school, please continue special school. There is absolutely no need to disturb whatever, is working. But if it is not working, if for some reason your child is not finding it easy to be in a mainstream or an inclusive school or a special school, especially now with this COVID situation, I want to tell parents that homeschooling is a very, very feasible option. Homeschooling is very much possible. It is something that you can do very easily. Pros and cons, I would say, well, there are a lot of pros, I feel. But so let me start with the cons. I will start with the cons. The cons, I think the biggest con is the amount of time that you have to dedicate to homeschooling. That is, if you are teaching your child yourself. So if you're teaching your child yourself, it is literally, it almost becomes imperative that one parent is at home, that there is one parent who is with the child 24/7 to homeschool the child. So if that is not possible for you for some reason, then it might be difficult to consider homeschooling. Families with both working parents may find it easier to send the child to school rather than homeschool. So that is definitely a big con for those who are working. Both of them are working, but the pro to set off that con, I would say, would be that you are spending way, way, way less money on education compared to sending your child to school. Way less money. It's like almost free. It's like free education, because you are not paying anybody anything. The only money you spend is in buying books at the most. So financially, I would say that it works out much better. But of course, again, you have to weight against how much money you would be losing if you had to quit your job to homeschool your child. So you'll have to weigh those pros and cons. Another con that parents feel is that there is no interaction with other kids, and like I covered already in the previous question, that feels like a con, but I never really felt it. Once I started homeschooling, I found so many different ways to get my son to interact with others. So it felt like a con to start with, but it turned out not to be. The biggest pro of homeschooling is that it gives you the flexibility to teach your child in a way that your child understands, in a way that your child can learn, in a way that your child appreciates and feels happy about learning. It was so important for me that my son enjoy learning. I didn't want him to feel like, oh my god, this is like some real grunge work that I have to do. No, I wanted him to enjoy learning, because I remember when he was a baby, how curious he was about the world around him, how curious he was about everything. And it was only when it was formalized and put into this structure where you have to give exams, it's all about giving exams and getting good grades, and it kind of just killed that joy somewhere, I feel, where instead of learning spontaneously, he was bound by the structure and he had to follow that structure, and he could not do anything other than that. So the biggest advantage of homeschooling was that I had the flexibility to teach him how I wanted. I had the, also, taking his needs into consideration. He had a lot of physical health issues as well. So I could take care of all those needs while I was homeschooling. So I think it was a much more holistic approach. I think it's a much more holistic approach for our children. Otherwise, what happens is we tend to focus so much on academics that we kind of don't give so much importance to the other things, which are also actually equally, if not more important, as to become an independent person. What other pros and cons can I think of? Can't think of anything more, Harshali.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go to the next question.
Yeah.
What is the better option for my child? Homeschool, regular school, or special school?
I think I kind of covered this little bit. I would say it depends a lot on the child. It depends a lot on the child. It depends a lot on your family situation, on your financial situation, on your social situation, whether you have the means to homeschool your child. What are your goals? What are your priorities? Also, if the child is comfortable in a mainstream school, there is really no need to consider homeschooling, unless you feel that, okay, I think my child will do better with homeschooling. I don't want my child to just be sitting in school for 6 hours a day or whatever. I want to do something different. That's up to you. So I would say it is completely the family's choice, but please take into consideration your child's needs. Take into consideration your child's needs. Think about what will be best for your child.
Yes. Next, I have like, can I homeschool my child now and put him in regular school later on? I mean,
Yeah, technically you are supposed to be able to, Harshali. The problem with this is that, in my experience, once you are, out of the mainstream schooling system, it is very difficult to get back because, like I said, already schools are very reluctant to take in our kids. And on top of it, if you're a homeschooler, then it's like even more resistance. But legally, or policy wise, if you have been homeschooling your child, say your child is in first grade and you feel that my child is not ready to go to school, so let me homeschool him. And you homeschool your child from first grade to third grade, and then you feel, okay, now my child is ready to go to school. So you approach a school for admissions. Technically, the school is supposed to give your child admission if he passes the entrance exam. They cannot deny admission to your child. But whether that really happens and how much you have to fight to make that happen is one whole different story. The Right to Education Act makes it compulsory for schools to give admission to our kids. But it's the ground reality is different, unfortunately. So
yes.
I would suggest, maybe if you have a school in mind where you would like to send your child after a couple of years, maybe talk to that school, build a good rapport with the school, build a good relationship with the school. And that might increase your chances of the school accepting your child after you have homeschooled him.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll take some questions from chat box.
Yeah.
Someone is asking, how do you allocate your timings considering various topics and subjects? Do you have a set learning time and routine?
Yes, yes. I do have a set learning time and routine. I have a timetable, which, every year rather, I sit down with my son and we make a timetable. But like I said, I focus on academics for 2 hours a day at the most. And my son's attention span is very less. So in the beginning, I could not teach him for more than 15 minutes at a time. So I would teach him for 15 minutes, then take half an hour break, then teach for another 15 minutes, then another half an hour break. But that slowly has increased now, where now he can focus for half an hour, at a stretch. So what I do is, in those 2 hours every day, I decide 4 subjects that I'm going to cover. I teach one subject for half an hour, then we take a 15-minute break where he's allowed to do whatever, go drink water, relax, stretch himself out, go walk around the house, and then come back. And then we do the next subject. So 4 subjects are covered in those 2 hours. And which subjects are covered, I keep a little flexible, because sometimes Rohan is not in the mood to do a particular subject. He says, no, mom, I don't want to do this today. So I say, okay, fine, then we'll do something else. So I keep it flexible. I don't keep it very hard and fast. And we try to have a weekly goal, not just for academics, but also for other things. We have goals where, okay, this week, Rohan, we are going to learn how to put the clothes in the washing machine, for example, although those are more like monthly goals than weekly goals, I would say. Monthly goals are more realistic. Weekly is too short a time. So we have weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals. Yearly goals are like really, in this year, Rohan is going to learn how to brush his teeth, 1 year.
Okay.
And every day we work on it.
Consistency is the key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll take the next question. How did you deal with meltdowns? Like it is really frequent due to lockdown. How did you understand that this much routine is enough for him to get equivalent to all the things that he used to do? I mean, before Corona, she's saying, but general
Yeah. In general, suppose your child is going to school and then
school.
you start homeschooling him. How do you,
Yes, yes.
keep the child engaged? No, this is where the parents' time and responsibility comes into play, because it really is a big responsibility. I used to, in the beginning, I used to be with my son literally 24/7, literally 24/7. He was like a puppy following me around everywhere. And at every minute of every day, I was trying to teach him something, because he could not do things independently, even for the academics, or even for the study part of it. He would not do it on his own. He needed me to sit next to him and to keep prompting him to do something. This went on for many many years, and so but what I did, I somehow never, my son in fact had more meltdowns when he was going to school, and they decreased drastically when we stopped sending him to school. Probably because he was more stressed in school than he was at home, so that his cause of having a meltdown was the stress and the anxiety, and trying to follow that rigid structure. So for us, in fact, when we started homeschooling, his meltdowns decreased a lot. And to keep him engaged, like I said, I would involve him in all the daily activities, all the chores. The 2 hours was spent in teaching him, 1 hour was spent in occupational therapy, one hour was spent in physiotherapy. But at every point of time, I was involved, so it was like a full-time job. But around 2 years back, Rohan himself told me that he would like he would like me to hire a tutor to teach him. He said, no, I don't want you to teach me anymore. I want a tutor to come and teach me. So that kind of made it easier. And what I did was, I also started again, because of his health issues, instead of going to different therapy centers for therapies, I started, calling everybody at home. So I had a private tutor coming home for 2 hours. I had an occupational therapist coming home for 1 hour, physiotherapist for 1 hour. So it was a very packed day, the days were very packed. And it was the variety, I think, that helped him. I think that is the main point. Don't make your son sit in one, make your child sit in one place and expect the child to not go mad. Yeah, I mean, if somebody tells me to do that, I will go mad. So keep it interesting. Have a lot of variety of activities during the day. Do lots of things, lots of different things. Gives them as much stimulation as possible in all aspects.
Yes, I think that serves in socialization also. I mean,
Yeah,
having various, contact
absolutely. Yeah,
people are coming up, and that is also a socialization.
absolutely.
One question is, I should go through school directly or contact NIOS? I mean, I wanted to ask that at the starting of homeschooling only, we should
Yeah.
contact NIOS or go through some school.
No. You don't have to contact NIOS. You don't have to go through any school. If you're homeschooling, you can just literally, start right now. You don't need anybody's permission or anybody's approval to start homeschooling. NIOS comes into the picture only when you are planning to give an exam. Otherwise, NIOS you can use, you can follow their syllabus, as a guideline. But even if you see the NIOS syllabus is vast. And even the, people who have created that syllabus say that, this is like the ultimate syllabus, this is like the ultimate goal. Remember that it's not catering only to children with special needs, it's catering to everybody, right? So they have said, like, the level is really high, and they themselves, don't stick to that much. So NIOS comes into the picture if you want to give an exam. For example, if you want to give the 3rd grade exam, then at that point of time, you will have to register with NIOS. For that academic year, you have to register with NIOS. You can register online, or, they have study centers everywhere. All the information is available on the NIOS website, and you can find a study center near you, and you can approach the study center. They will help you with the registration process. They have some contact classes, etc. But that is only for exams.
Okay. Another question is from, is it possible to develop the aspect of socialization by homeschooling, as both high functioning and low functioning autistic children has problem of socialization? I think, yeah, you have covered some, but still.
Yeah. I want to clarify, because I think a couple of parents have asked that my son is very high functioning. So my son's official diagnosis when he was diagnosed was Asperger's syndrome. But then that later on came under the autism spectrum. So he is high functioning, yes. And he is verbal. So that helps a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps a lot with socialization.
Yes. And next is, what about observation? I mean, learning through observation. I mean, how that we will achieve through homeschooling if some student is.
Oh, this was my favorite part, of teaching Rohan.
Yeah.
I taught him things via what we in school called field trips. So when we did a chapter, so for example, when we did a chapter on fruits and vegetables, I went through the book, I completed the chapter, and then I realized he needs to really understand the concept. This is not really helping him to show him pictures of fruits and vegetables. This is not really helping him. So this was even before homeschooling, when he was much younger. So what I have always done with Rohan is to give him very practical experiences about everything, all the concepts. So for teaching fruits and vegetables, I used to take him to the grocery store. I used to take him to the local fruit and vegetable vendor, and we used to go in the afternoon, and I took him once, and I just showed him all the fruits and vegetables. Luckily the vegetable vendor was, I knew him, so he allowed us to kind of just hang out there, and for Rohan to pick up a fruit and to smell the fruit and then put the fruit down. So he was actually getting a very tangible experience, and the concept of, okay, this is what an apple looks like, this is what an apple smells like, then you can cut it, this is what an apple tastes like. Very tangible, and I think that helps our kids a lot. They need the concepts to be tangible, not just abstract. At least with Rohan, I realized that he found it very difficult to understand something abstract. For example, when I was teaching him about numbers, it is one thing to teach a child counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but does he actually understand what those numbers mean? No, I realized with Rohan, he had very good rote memory, but he did not necessarily understand the concept of numbers. So it's called number sense, right? Understanding number sense. How do you teach your child number sense? Rohan was extremely fond of cars. So I took he had like a pile of, those Lego, not Lego cars, was the Hot Wheels, right? Yeah, Hot Wheels. And he had a collection of Hot Wheels. So I gathered all those Hot Wheels. And, we started counting the cars. And because there were cars involved, he was extremely interested. So that's okay, this is one car. Now these are two cars. And then, group them, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars. And then, which number is greater, which number is smaller. Also, I taught him this way, so because of homeschooling, I feel I had the freedom to do such creative things. For animals, I took him to the zoo. I even took him to the police station recently and showed him the jail cell. And I told him, this is where they put the criminals. and the police, sitting there were all really amused. Okay, who is this who has come here to look at the jail cells? Yeah, I hope that answers that question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yes. Actually, many parents are like questioning about socialization. I just wanted to say that school is not the only place which is for socialization. As it is saying that she has taken her son to the various places. That is the most important socialization, I think. I mean, many questions I'm not going through because of all
Yeah,
our on socialization thing.
yeah.
So that was the thing. And next, I'll go to how to start with homeschooling. Like, shall I get him IQ tested? Is it necessary to test your IQ? Because for learning disability child, how to go about homeschooling? Who is,
How old is the child in this case?
no, this is I'm taking general questions.
Okay, generally. Okay.
Yes, yes,
No, it's
general.
not. It's not necessary to do an IQ test because, especially with our children, it's very difficult to get an accurate IQ result. IQ test results, because many of our kids are non-verbal or they may not respond. There are so many factors. So IQ tests are not very reliable source when it comes to our children. But you can, get them evaluated by a special educator. I think that would be better. Get them evaluated by a special educator. A special educator would be able to tell you where your child stands at that point of time, and where you need to start. So I don't think IQ tests will really help in any way. You need more practical, understanding than that.
Mhm. Anita Das, she's asking, by homeschooling, we are taking all the responsibility. I mean to say, parents are taking the whole burden on their shoulder. The problems faced by us will remain hidden. Government will never think of giving security to these children like neurotypical one, and their right will never be established. So
Yeah.
government-based special schools are very necessary. What's your views on this, Priti?
Definitely, I agree completely. In fact, I feel that I kind of gave up because I just did not have the energy to fight with the school, with the education system. And I felt that it was better if I spent that time, teaching Rohan things instead of fighting. I did, I fought for maybe a year or so, but then I realized the futility of it. And I absolutely believe, Harshali, this is one of the things that we were talking about now for SNCC also, that
Yes,
advocacy, we have to advocate for our kids.
yes,
But this is something that one person cannot do. We need to form a strong community of parents who are going to support each other during these fights. It's not something that an individual can take on. I mean, you can try, but it just doesn't work. We need more voices. We need more organization. We need more unity, and we need a consistent and very systematic approach and effort to make it happen.
Yes, actually, that's what I kept in mind, that advocacy in everything, actually, mainly in
For everything, for
education
everything.
system is the most, that part is major part of our parents' life is going in that only.
Absolutely. And it is sad that our kids are not able to go to school because the school is not equipped to handle their needs. But unfortunately, this is what it is. I mean, I realized that when the school said that they did not have the means to support my son, they really did not have the means to support my son. So then I thought, what is the point? Harshali, I was sitting in school the whole day. I was always on standby, sitting in school the whole day because they would call me for any, thing that went up.
Yes, I can.
So, yeah, I mean, we really should, but it's a long fight and it's something that has to be done in a very organized manner.
Yes, yes. Actually, someone that Manjula is asked that you need to sacrifice your own hobbies, activities when you are concentrating on homeschooling. I mean, another question is
Hmm.
how do you how do I get the me time, which is very important to maintain a, I mean, sane mind and essential for parents with special needs. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
how you achieved that balance in both?
No, it was very difficult in the beginning. I'll be honest, it was not easy at all. It's only as Rohan has grown up that he has the from the point of time that he started engaging himself in activities. I was able to find time for myself. Otherwise, it was my husband coming back home and then me juggling my handing my son over to my husband and saying, okay, Baba, now I have to go do this. So it's not easy. It's not easy. Definitely, it's not easy. Finding me time, I have tried to find me time by staying awake after everybody goes to sleep. I have tried to find me time by hiding in the bathroom for some time, because at least I know that my son will not bother me there, because he knows, okay, mom is busy, she can't come out. So some really desperate ideas to find me time. But yeah, I'll be honest, it is hard. It is hard, especially if you're homeschooling, because when your child is going to school, you at least get some break. You get some time to do other things. But with homeschooling, your child is there at home 24/7, and it's not easy. It's not easy. The only thing that I think I found relief when Rohan told me that he wanted a tutor to come and teach him, because then he was happily engaged for 2 hours with the tutor, and then I could get other things done or do whatever else I wanted.
Yes. Uh, there is one question that my son is great in receptive language but not expressive. So he is good in visual learning but weaker on verbal commands. How to train him at homeschooling or mainstream school? I think this is the very common questions coming up for the
Yeah,
younger
for the
children.
younger children, no.
Yeah, yes,
I
yes.
think though this would be better answered by a special educator, because since Rohan was verbal, I don't have experience about how one can go about teaching a non-verbal child.
Yes, yes. Okay.
We should have a session with a special educator for that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, we will.
Teaching strategies. Yeah.
Yes, as we discussed, we will be having various sessions in homeschooling. I mean, this is very much required. I mean, need of the hour because of this corona pandemic. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
take this ahead with the special educators also.
Yes.
Did you teach? Did you teach him all the things under any guidance or on your own?
I taught on my own. Yeah, I love to teach. So, I've literally started teaching since he was born and he was put in my arms, I think. I, so, I was very excited to teach him because I love teaching. So it was never, something that I felt like I was doing extra, or something that, I had, I had to do and didn't want to do it. It came so naturally to me, and I loved doing it. And I loved to see him, learn all these new things. And luckily, with Rohan, I never had an issue with motivating him to learn, because he was inherently very, very interested in learning. So he used to soak up information like a sponge, whatever I was ready to teach him. So I would say it was easy for me because of that. I know that not every child would be there are so many parents who tell me our child, they don't sit in one place. So how am I going to teach them? So like I said, there are so many different issues. And so whether homeschooling will is a good idea for your child and for your family depends a lot on your child and your family situation. It is not, I would not advocate homeschooling blindly for everybody, not at all. It depends so much on the child and the other aspects.
Yes, if first child is on that tantrum stage only, then it's difficult for parents to,
Yeah,
and even
absolutely.
parents should have that liking to even, I mean, teach this child.
Teach. Yes, yes.
Patience is needed.
Patience is needed. Not everybody has the interest to teach, or and it's like somebody was asking me, how you find time for yourself. It's not easy. All of us know that this journey is not easy on us at all. We are stressed out on all fronts. We have to take care of our health, not just our physical health, our mental health, our children's physical and mental health. Just so don't, it is a big decision. Homeschooling is a big decision, not to be taken lightly.
Yeah. Next, I'll go to, like, is there any method or guideline to assess the child where he is currently grade wise, and how to get homeschooling study material? Like currently, so many material are available. How to choose among them?
I just followed the CBSE curriculum. You can just buy CBSE books. That is what the schools do. You can ask your neighbors kids, for example, for their syllabus. But this is very easily available even on Amazon. So you can just go to Amazon, whatever grade you're teaching your child, you could just go search for that textbooks for that grade, and you'll find a big list of books, including ICSE and some IGCSE as well. For evaluation, I think you should go to a special educator. Go to a special educator to see where your child is at currently.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you feel any subject you personally think not practical in life situation, as it would be like overloading child when something really doesn't make sense in mainstream? Which subjects you feel like that?
Which doesn't make sense in mainstream.
In real life situation, as we're
Which are not very practically applicable.
like sin theta, cos theta, we learned.
I know, my goodness, I don't even know why I learned that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing with my son, for example, is that I'm teaching him only functional maths. My son finds mathematics very difficult. So after a point of time, me and my husband, took this call that there is no point in teaching him all these equations and formulae and stuff which he's never going to use in real life. Just stick to functional maths, as long as he can add, subtract, count money, where all will he need to know numbers, know the prices of things and things like that. And we played a lot of Monopoly to teach him that. So buying and selling of properties and stuff. So yeah, absolutely, that is the advantage of homeschooling, is that it's up to you. Like I said in my other seminar, I think, um, for NIOS, the advantage is that you can choose from about 11 subjects, I think they have. And you have to pass only 5 subjects to pass 10th standard, for your 10th standard exam, to get a certificate for 10th standard, you just have to give 5 subjects. That's it. Out of that, one is a language, which again, you have a lot of choice. You can choose English, Hindi. I think there are a couple of international languages as well, French, German. There are a lot of regional languages. So one language, then the maths is not compulsory. So you can skip maths. Science is not compulsory. Basically, it's completely flexible. So you can choose the subjects based on your child's abilities, based on your child's interests, what he is capable of doing. That is a big advantage.
Language is also flexible, like someone is asking, Mr. Ashok Shah,
Yeah.
my child is learning in English medium and at home we speak Gujarati. He
Yeah.
has good comprehension in Gujarati, but not that good in English. I mean, same with my own child also, Preeti. Like he's
I know.
our mother tongue, they understands very
Mother tongue, they understand.
so how
For NIOS, I know that the exams can be given either in English or in Hindi, but I'm not sure whether the exams can be given in other regional languages.
okay.
That I'll have to see if they can be given in other. For other regional languages, we have local boards. Maharashtra has its own open schooling board. Karnataka, I think, has its own open schooling board. So they would probably, allow you to give exams in the regional language. But NIOS, as far as I know, English and Hindi are the two languages in which you can give all the exams.
Okay. How practical you think is current academics, as everything that is the syllabus are not practical in real life? I mean, the same question I get.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I think we can ask parents to unmute one by one, because I've done with questions within chat box.
Okay.
So parents, you can raise your hands and I'll unmute you one by one. Yes, Aruna Kumari, unmute and ask your question. Yes, Aruna. Hello. Aruna, we can't hear you. Okay, we'll move to the next parent. Kanchan Pandey, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, ma'am, my son, he has just passed class 3.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Yes, I
Yes.
can. Yes.
Yeah, and he is having attention deficit.
Okay.
So he cannot concentrate when I'm teaching him some concepts from the syllabus. Okay, so learning disability is there, in short. So
Yeah.
now, is there any option available for further education where I can drop the subjects? Because I heard NIOS, in standard 10, the syllabus is quite tough for my child. So I haven't not seen it, but I came to know from the special educator that the syllabus is very tough for 10th standard. So
For NIOS?
Yes.
Okay.
So any other options in education field where he can skip the subjects and continue with the CBSE syllabus?
I don't think so. With continuing CBSE syllabus and skipping subjects, no. I mean, if you're going to, if you want to give your 10th standard exam through CBSE, you have to follow whatever their syllabus is. You don't have a choice there. There is no facility where you have, special exceptions or anything for children with learning disabilities, or that is all only available in NIOS.
Okay,
so I'm surprised to hear this, that the NIOS syllabus is difficult. Yes, it is difficult, but there is so much choice that you can, which normally you would not at all have in either a CBSE school or an ICSE school, where you have to pass all the exams, you have to give all all the subjects exams. Whereas here, you have subjects like data entry and home science and arts and crafts, and all those count towards your 10th standard certificate. So
Okay.
I would say that NIOS is by far the most feasible way for our children to finish 10th standard.
Okay. And is it something, I'll just take 1 minute more.
Yeah.
Is it something that, I mean, up to a particular standard we can shift to NIS?
No, absolutely. I mean, NIOS you can start at any point of time.
Okay,
Is
because
your child going to school currently?
yeah, currently he's going to school, but it is not making any sense for him to go to school because he cannot understand anything in the school. Everything I am
Okay.
teaching him.
Okay, then I would say you're an ideal candidate for homeschooling. No, you can start at any point of time. I forgot your name.
Kanchan.
Kanchan, yeah. Kanchan, you can start at any point of time, and if you're planning to give the 5th grade exam and the 8th grade exam, you only have to approach NIOS for giving the exam. So the year when you plan to give the exam for that academic year, you have to register with NIOS. You can register on their website, or you can, register with a study center. And but also, it's not compulsory at all. This is completely up to you. The 3rd standard and 5th standard and 8th standard exams are not compulsory. So you can, just spend this time teaching your child, and you can straight away go for the 10th standard exam and get it done with. This is what I am planning to do for my son.
Okay. And ma'am, in special schools, they are following NIS or not?
I think, yes, I think so. I don't know about like completely special schools, but I know that inclusive education, whatever they say nowadays, where it is a special school within a normal school, they all follow NIOS.
Okay.
They
Okay.
all follow NIOS. But they teach using CBSE.
Okay.
Yeah. So NIOS, you see, basically NIOS is just allowing us to give our child a chance to complete his 10th standard, his 12th standard, without having to meet all the other requirements. So I will tell you how easy NIOS has made it for a child to get a 10th standard certificate. First of all, only 5 subjects, out of which maths is not compulsory, science is not compulsory. You can choose from a nice range of subjects. Then you have a minimum age of 15 years to attend the 10th standard exam, but there is no maximum age limit. So you can give the exam when you're 15 years, when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, whenever the child is ready, the child can give the exam. This is such a big advantage for us. In fact, even if you register, suppose your child is 15 years old, and you decide that you want to sit for the 10th standard exam. So you register with NIOS. Now I have registered in 2020. Suppose I have registered for the 10th standard exam in 2020. I have 5 years from this point of time for my child to pass all 5 subjects. 5 years.
Okay.
So within those 5 years, your credits are carried over. So you can, give just, one exam this year and say, okay, I cannot, I don't think my child can give more than one exam. I will just, give one exam this year, get it out of the way, do the next exam next year. So there is a lot of flexibility there, lot of flexibility. They also have special provisions where you can have a scribe if your child is, not able to write well. You have extra time. You can use a computer for answering the questions. You can have a prompter. If your child needs somebody to prompt him, to answer the questions, then you have the facility of having a prompter who sits next to the child and prompts, okay, please answer this question next. They also have a facility where the children can take a break and they can walk around the class, go sit outside, have water, eat something. So they have made it very, very child friendly.
Okay, thanks a lot, ma'am, for such a great information.
You're most welcome.
Next, Halima Sadia, you can unmute and ask your question. Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Ma'am, it's such a pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. Your words are so inspiring. And thank you, Harshali, ma'am. You have been conducting these, I think more than 30 sessions have been done with Dr. Sumit and also with Preeti, ma'am, and all that. Very great thing to organize a session and to do it every Wednesday. And apart from Wednesday, also many of these sessions are going on. Thank you so much. I have a 7-year-old autistic daughter, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, how much normalcy can I expect from her, ma'am? She is very good, ma'am. Very good. She is with me. She doesn't want anything in the world. She just wants me. She's just after me. I think from just 2 years, she is little verbal. She has need-based communication. But she has learned addition, she has learned subtraction, she reads, she can read a paragraph, answer the small questions and all. But the learning of speech is very, very slow, ma'am. I don't know if I had to make a ratio of her learning addition and the speech, then it would be I think 1 to 100. The ratio would become so big. Ma'am, can that be overcome?
It's very difficult to say, Halima. It's very difficult to say. All I can, tell parents is that just keep working with your child. Just keep working. Love your child, support your child's needs, encourage your child, keep working with your child, keep exposing your child to different things. Give your child lots of opportunities, lots of stimulation. Don't think about whether this is going to work or not work, whether I will be able to achieve this goal. Keep a goal in mind, keep a goal in mind and keep working towards it. But don't set a deadline, don't set a time deadline. Okay, this has to happen at the end of this year. Don't do that to yourself, don't do that to your child.
Yes, ma'am.
They learn. My son, let me tell you, my son is 18 years old now. I hear from so many parents that we miss the early intervention period. My son was diagnosed after the early intervention period. So he was diagnosed at 4, and everything that we worked on was after that. And the most progress that he has had, which at a very good pace, was after he was 12 years old. So until my son was 12 years old, I was struggling with a lot of basic issues. And suddenly it was like, he was 12 years old, for my son, this was 12 years, for some other child, it will be at some other age,
Yes.
It all depends on the child and, where the child is at what pace the child can learn, how much how much opportunities you give to the child. But so for my son, after 12, he has learned so many things. Halima's daughter is there.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay,
the little one wants to come and tell every time I'm talking on the phone. Mama, say hello.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. You want to listen to what mom is saying?
No, I just finished my homework here.
Oh, nice.
It's A, B, C, D of lowercase.
Nice, nice. Very good job. I can see it. Yeah, I can see it there.
Good job.
Excellent.
Yeah. Sorry, ma'am.
No, it's okay. We in fact should have a session with all our kids also. Let them talk for a change.
Ma'am, this is the little one. This is my elder one.
Hey.
The one who is artistic. Huma, say hello.
Hi. Hi.
Where are you? See? She can see 4 people there, so she's not able
Yeah,
to.
I know. I know. Yeah,
Thank
so
you, ma'am.
just keep working. Just keep
Yes.
working with your daughter. And I promise you, the efforts are not going to go waste. No effort is going to go waste. It will always help your child.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
You're
Harshali,
most
ma'am.
welcome.
Welcome. I would request Lakshmikant K, sir. You can ask your question.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, there are just 3 or 4 things that I'd like to say or ask. If it takes more time, just stop me midway. I'll go in the order of priority. One, I'll just lightly introduce myself. I live in Bangalore. I'm 45 years old. I have a child, male child. My only child is 4.5 years old. He was perfectly neurotypical till he was 2.5, and then he developed severe regressive autism. So that is basically how ended up here. The first thing that I noticed was Madam Preeti Dikshit shows no signs of being affected by having a kid who has autism. I mean, she's bubbly, she's enjoying. She seems to be enjoying it. I mean, that's such a great joy to see. I mean, you don't at all seem phased or feel sad or unfortunate that you are in this situation, and that is great encouragement for a lot of us to stay positive. So that is the one thing that I noticed very specifically.
But don't let me fool you. Don't let my face fool you.
Well, there are down moments. But I've seen people it overalls. I mean, they can't come to grips with the tragedy.
Yes.
I, as a doctor, I have a background in basic medicine. I do a lot of general work. I have a diploma in research. I've worked in a lot of different fields in research. I've seen uh, teenagers who wanted probably to be dancers get a limb cancer and have it amputated and lose their dreams. So when it happened to me, it was easier for me to accept. I have seen unfortunate things happen to people. So it was very easy for me compared to the rest of the family that I live with, for me to accept what has happened and see a positive direction forward. But the people not exposed to seeing that other people also experience things, and not everything is in our control, probably find it a little difficult. I noticed your child is high functioning. Now, if your child was not high functioning, probably on the lower functioning side, would you have felt the same way that you're feeling now, or would it be any different?
I'm not sure because, this is the journey that I have been on. So I can only say how I have felt about my journey. I have absolutely no idea about, what the journey is like for a parent of a child who is non-verbal or who is low functioning. I feel that, every journey has its own set of challenges. And at the end of the day, it's all about, how much you accept the reality for what it is and make the most of it. Resetting of our expectations, I feel, is a very big part of being a special needs parent, and very, very critical to be a happy special needs parent, because every time I counsel parents, I realize that it all boils down to their expectations. Expectations not being met. We never expected this to happen. We never expected that our child would not be able to do this. We never expected. So I keep, telling them, see how many times you're using the word expectation, and that right there is the problem. So you have to reset your expectations, and it's not easy. I mean, that itself is a journey.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Do you have any other children? That how is the relationship with the other children, or
No, I have just
uh,
one son. I have
you
just
and
one
me? I
son.
just have one son.
Yeah, yeah. But now my son at 18 years old is comfortable interacting even with peers. So now he has his own group of friends, where in fact, now he prefers to interact with his friends more than his parents. So parents are like, yeah, he's reached that age now where, parents are not very,
Necessary or the main focus.
not, our parents are embarrassing actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents tend to embarrass them. So if he's having a Zoom call with his friends, he does not want me to be there. He'll tell me to go away. He's like, "Mom, go away, go away. I don't want you here." Yeah. So
I have few other things I can add, but I think there are other parents who probably want to ask a few questions.
yes,
This is
yes.
my first time here. It's been nice. I'll probably bring them up another time. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll take the question from Spruti Bangra. You can unmute and ask your question.
Hi, Preeti.
Hi.
Hi, Preeti. My one question is,
Yeah.
it is actually with your son. The question is, but I am sure that you will be aware of it. How
Yeah.
does Rohan explain homeschooling experience and the schooling experience? What he shared with you, like which experience was better for him? Because it's like a very good example.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think some
Some voice has gone, is it? Is she there still?
No, I guess she lost the connection, I guess.
Yeah, is it audible, Preeti?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was asking like how Rohan explained you that homeschooling was more better for him, or how was the school experience? Like how he compared and explained to you.
In the beginning,
Yes.
he was extremely relieved to not have to go to school, because he was having a really difficult time. But as time went on, and as he started, again feeling confident, and all his anxiety was under control, his health issues were also under control, then he would ask me, "Why can't I go back to school?" He used to ask me that. So I would say for him it was a mixed reaction. At one point of time he really did enjoy school and he missed that, and unfortunately later on he also developed a lot of anxiety in school. So he has mixed feelings, I would say. He has mixed feelings about homeschooling, but now he says, "No, Mom, I think this is better. I can learn at my own pace." But he does say that he was very good at academics, so he used to get a lot of praise from the teachers. They would always be praising him, so I'm sure he misses those things. The
Yeah.
validation that you get from others, he misses that. Also, I realize now that one of the points where he feels a little awkward is when somebody asks him which school he goes to, and then he doesn't know what to answer. So I have told him,
Yes.
you can tell them that, I homeschool. So now, luckily, because of Corona, that has become easier. Now, homeschooling has become the buzzword. So, I'm thankful for that. But yes, there are, it's not all rainbows. There are definitely other issues which social aspect is definitely a big issue, because when I started homeschooling Rohan, people were literally they were literally like, this mother has lost it. This mother has lost it, and this mother doesn't know how to take care of her son, and she's doing everything wrong. So there is a lot of social pressure, maybe not so much now, But when I started homeschooling, it was such a unknown concept that basically people assume that I have dropped Rohan out of school and that's it now. Not doing anything, just sitting at home. That's it.
Should we move ahead with another question?
I hope I answered Smriti's
Yes,
question.
yes,
Okay.
you did,
Yes.
because
Okay.
you explained it very well, because the main thing which you covered is that people asked him about the schooling, and you guided him to tell that it is homeschooling, that what he is doing.
Yes.
That requires
And
like a child to understand that he is doing something different, and he has
yes.
to have that confidence to tell it to the people that I am doing something different,
And that,
out of the box.
that only we can give him, we can give our kids, I've realized with Rohan that at every point of time, whenever I was not confident, he was not confident. So whenever I have been extremely, I don't care, it's okay, it's fine, let them think this way, it doesn't matter. Then he automatically latches on to that emotion himself, and then he feels comfortable, because I think our kids, they look up to us, they look up to us, they keep gauging what our reactions are like. So if they feel that we are feeling conscious about something, or we are feeling guilty about something, they immediately latch on to that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Preeti, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Next, I'll request Neetu Sharma. You can unmute and ask your question.
Hi, Preeti.
Hi, Neetu.
I connected with you 2-3 years back when I was in Pune through Telegram.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I somehow lost control. I would not say control, but I lost connection with you due to certain reasons. I am undergoing a lot of personal issues and problems at my marital life. I am not shy speaking on this platform, because as a mother, for me, my priority as of now is my son, who's 9.7 years old. So I have given a damn shit to the world, who thinks I am mad, because for them, me doing anything for my son is like I'm exaggerating things. I'm going out of the box to do things for him. And according to the rest of the family, is perfectly fine. It's me who has all the issues.
Yeah.
So with all those things in mind, I shifted to Pune. I took a call, I shifted to Pune, but unfortunately I had to come back to Bhopal due to some personal reasons. And now again, I'm struggling hard, because Bhopal has nothing. No occupational therapies, no speech therapies, no behavioral therapists, nothing. So I don't know. I did a special educator course and I upgraded myself. I think 3 E's, which are very important for a mother to have: exposure, experience, and education. So being a teacher for 14 years in reputed schools like Delhi Public School, SR International, Billabong, and then having delivered a son with ADHD, then going down all the ups and downs in life, suddenly a changeover, because nobody was ready to accept him, or I would say nobody is ready to accept the fact that he has issues, because the problem is he's very good on other spheres when it's coming to normal conversation or anything, but when it's coming to academics or socializing, it is really bad. Like my few questions, Preeti, would be, I don't know, when I am talking to other parents as a special educator, or when I just go to schools voluntarily just to have some time for these kids, which I know Bhopal doesn't have. And if I'm just going to schools and wherein I just want to share out my little experience or the little things that I gain from all these webinars that Harshali ma'am arranges it, and we get aware of it, and I encourage them to join these groups. So ma'am, Preeti ma'am, my one question is, he doesn't understand bullying. My biggest concern is when he goes out to play, there are kids bullying him, and he doesn't want me to be around, because he feels that 24/7 I am just like protecting him or I'm being around him. He does not enjoy me being around him a lot. because it's like now from past 1 year, if it's online classes, I'm sitting with him. If it's
Yeah.
assignments, I'm sitting with him. If it's homework, I'm sitting with him. Completing notebooks, I'm sitting with him. There's nobody else, no support system from the family side to take care of him. So for me, it's like taking care of mother-in-law, taking care of my 19-year-old child who's a teenage girl who has her own issues and everything. So little difficult for me to manage. But my biggest two concerns are, how do I teach him, or how do I explain him that if kids are bullying you, you need to keep a pace, or he just goes out playing with them and there are a lot of talks around him, which kids do of his age. It's really surprising that kids of his age really talks, give statements like, ये तो mentally दिमाग से ऐसा है, इसको तो समझ में नहीं आता, इसके साथ खेलो मत, ये तो पूरे टाइम बोलता रहता है. Lot of talking, yes, self. So how do I deal with this part?
You know, what I did with Rohan is that I made him aware of his condition, first of all. And I, told him that he cannot control this is the reality, isn't it, Neetu? We cannot control what other people say. We cannot control how other people are going to behave. So we have to empower our children. That is all we can do, is what I felt with Rohan. And I used to tell Rohan in the beginning that, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. If people treat him in a certain way, if they say mean things, he should not listen to that. That is not acceptable. And I would always ask him to come and report back to me, so that I was aware of what was going on. But other than that, I really don't know how you can make your son aware of bullying and how to. It's just something that we ourselves have to teach, because it really is very hard to control other children. And children actually are very cruel. They can be very cruel because they speak whatever is on their mind. They are not politically correct. Whatever they have learned, whatever they have heard, from their elders, they just kind of tend to, this is something that they might have heard somebody from their family saying, and then they say it to the face of the child. So educating others, is a very gradual process. It's a very long process, and we are, all of us, doing it as much as we can. But equip your son, empower your son, make him aware, tell him what is okay, what is not okay. Make sure he knows that he can always come to you, for help in anything. That, you will not be judging him because of something. And always build his confidence, and if he's getting to hear such things, somewhere in his mind he might, be allowing it to sink in. So you'll have to counteract it every time. This is what I had to do after my son's school.
Negative statements impact a lot. Like, for example, when he was in KG2, he was in Sapling at that time. And Sapling is considered to be a very good school, preschool in Pune, Baner area. So class KG2 teacher told him, why do you come to school when you can't read and you don't want to learn? So every time when I sat with the book with him to help him to read, because he still can't read. I don't know why. He still can't. Verbally, he's strong. You explain the chapter to him, you ask questions, verbally he will answer it. But when it comes to writing, if he has to write off, he'll write FO. If you have to write in, he'll write NI.
Have you got him checked for dyslexia?
No, ma'am. Till last year, I shifted last year in July. No, 2 years back. So till that time, when I went to Umeed for his IQ test, it was impossible to get an IQ test then done. And they told me he's too small now and you can come later on. Then Archana Kadam ma'am also told me, like, need to come, we'll do it a little later. But then again, as I said, due to certain personal issues, I had to shift back to Bhopal. And then we don't have anything over here. And then now Corona. So anyways, I can't go online. I'm trying hard to get appointments with Archana ma'am, which is again not working out. So
let me also see, because this sounds like dyslexia to me, not being able to read and then reversing his letters and things like that. And there are very specific interventions for dyslexia. So that would really help your son. So let me also, Harshali, maybe you can give her my number, and Neetu, you can get in touch with me.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I will talk to a special educator who I know and ask her who is the right person to approach for this.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome,
Me
Neetu.
too, ma'am.
Hugs to you.
Yeah,
Thank
your hats off to you. You are doing a great job. I can see, I mean, how dedicated you are. I mean, all the best for your further journey, and you are really doing a good job for your.
Yeah.
I mean, mother has to keep their foot down for the kids, and somewhere we have to. I mean, even
We should, Harshali, we should really have a session for mothers, because I know, so many mothers are struggling so much. I myself have been through this extremely lonely and, very, very depressing phase with no support. And I can, I want to give Neetu a hug right now. I felt like,
Yes.
if she was sitting in front of me, I could, do that.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Thank you so much for your
But
encouraging.
please, all the moms here, all of you are free to get in touch with me, and in fact I will tell Harshali to create a group for this probably.
Sure.
and a webinar where we mothers can connect with each other.
Yes.
Because nobody understands this journey like we do. Only another special needs mom understands the pain of a special needs mom.
Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get all the psychological support also, like we are doing some mothers well-being, I mean parents well-being webinars,
Yeah.
and trying to help, and sure we can also get in touch with each other, like we are sailing same boat, so
Absolutely.
more helpful
Absolutely.
for everyone. Okay, we'll move towards the next question. Rahul sir, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi Preeti. Hi Harshali.
Hi.
Yeah, Rahul is my husband name. I'm Poonam.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask you that when we are giving education through like NIOS and this CBSE board, so is a certificate of disability needed in school, or it is not needed? Like how it will help for
certificate of disability is needed to avail the provisions that they have for children with disability. So all those provisions that I was talking about, even CBSE has this, extra time and scribe and prompter and using the computer and things like that. For that you need to have a disability certificate.
Okay. And
to avail of those.
Okay, and Preeti, like I'm from Karnataka only, from Bangalore. So I want to ask you that which hospital is good actually? Actually, I went in one hospital, Victoria Hospital, but there the staff are not good and they are not cooperating. So I'm just thinking to go to Nimhans Hospital once again and see that but which hospital is good, I don't know. So I want to ask you from
I
where
always prefer Nimhans.
Nimhans, no. Okay,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll try to go there. That is the one thing that I just want to ask that what all things we can do like this. Yeah. Thank you. That's all. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Great. Next, I would request Roderick sir. Please unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, Ms. Preeti.
Hi, Brin.
Yeah, it's really a wonderful session, very insightful, very inspiring, very motivational.
I'm glad.
Everyone. Especially love your bubbliness, Behind the bubbliness, I know we all have various shades, all special parents.
Yeah.
So, but then like, no, at least it takes a lot of effort, you know, to be better actors than maybe Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan. That is what is all our life, you know.
So true,
So,
so true.
yeah, because our life is, as you were discussing, like, no, is a lot of acting, because our kids take in a lot of our vibes.
Yeah.
So even if
Yes.
we are, you know, sad within ourselves, we
Yeah.
need to show a big sunny smile on our face, like, no, so that is what
Yes.
gets transmitted, and that is
Yeah.
what we get in return. So
Yes.
basically, you know, what you're mentioning is that this journey about schooling we have just started, and Corona has been a rather blessing for us,
Yeah. Yeah.
because so much of things, like, no, we have learned during the Corona period, because I've got two kids on the spectrum. My
Yeah.
daughter is 13, my son is 11, both on the autism spectrum.
Yes.
Daughter is just partially verbal, son is non-verbal. But having said that, you know, so many wonders have been created during this Corona.
I
So much,
know. I know.
so much of home teaching, homeschooling, like, no, that
Yeah.
in my house I have, like, no, I've changed the name of Corona. It is really Corona. घर में एक बैठ के Corona. So in this 1 year, you know, we never
Yeah.
stepped out of the house. Okay.
Yeah.
And so much of learning has happened in terms of, you know, the colors, the shapes, the vegetables, or
Yes.
say the countings. Okay. Understanding the
In a
value,
way,
all this.
Bryn, time has slowed down, hasn't it?
Exactly. You know, and
Yeah.
slowed down
Yeah.
to the
You're
betterment,
not.
you
You're
know.
not. Racing against time all the time.
Yeah, because see, before this Corona period, since
Mm.
both the kids on the spectrum, and I don't know whether you are aware that both the kids are in Guinness Book of World Record for skating.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we were like, you know, we were like headless chickens, you know, just running throughout the day behind
Yeah. Yeah.
therapies, behind various courses.
Yes.
And also what really happened is during the Corona period, we came across, you know, education online.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the gap which was there between schooling and the parent understanding was
Yes.
really an eye opener,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we were intervening in the basically like in the classroom, and we were trying to teach teachers, and this is the way we need to teach our children.
Yes. Yes.
Literally, that was what was happening,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
much of progress that we have seen in this 1 year,
Yeah.
that we are looking forward, like, you know, to continuing this journey, so that
Yes. Yes.
we get into more of practical understanding and practical learning, because a lot of history even we don't remember, which is
I know.
not of much of use.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That war
So
of Panipat and all, I wonder why I ever learned.
I was about to say that, ma'am. So all these things doesn't make any sense, you know.
Yeah.
And it is not. It is in fact initially it is difficult, but
Yeah.
then when you pull up your socks, you know, and then you get to see the world from a child eyes, that is where the difference becomes.
Yes.
That is what I have realized. And both the kids, you know, both of us parents have got excellent acceptance with regard to the kids. So we don't even need to, like, not tell each other, we read each other's minds. And that
That's
is
very
how, you
nice.
know, yeah, and that is how we role model the kids. We can't, you know, do a desktop learning, like what you rightly said, that you are
Yeah.
taking your son to the vegetable shops and all these, like, no.
Yeah.
So understand, until you role model, you know, the child will better understand by your role modeling, rather than you
Absolutely.
making him go on a desk and say, like, you know, come sit, I want to teach you something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for us also, like, you know, we are trying to practice as much of advocacy as possible,
Yeah.
having two kids on the spectrum, that just we need to be strong within ourselves. Yes, there are some good days, there are not so good days also,
Yeah.
but then focus on the good days and move on in our journey, and there are good days to come ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, because there
Well
is
said.
nothing, you
Yes.
know, no point, you know, complaining on things which are not in our control.
Yeah.
rather than do things like, like how you are, have a smile on your face, like, this is a way we all need to have a smile on our face and just spread the good things around. Don't compare our
Yes,
kids with others' kids. Each child is different, abilities are different. And having
absolutely.
said that, be positive, not corona, but be positive in your mind. So, little bit
Absolutely.
of
Yes.
sharing, man, wanted to do.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Brid.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.
Thank you for that positivity. I think we can go quickly more couple of questions uh, specific. Aruna Kumari, ma'am, you can ask your question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this audible?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Very good morning, ma'am. Because we are
Yes.
meeting for the first time in a day, so I'm just
Ye-
like actually I have a 6-year-old autistic daughter. I
Okay.
have tried all kind of schools like traditional schooling, play school type, Waldorf schooling, and an inclusive type. So
Yeah.
all the schoolings I found somewhere something is lacking, where our kids are like not able to learn exactly what they are meant to for their
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
So I felt somehow ki this education system doesn't like exactly going to a school that is not exactly fitting for them. So I just, because we are in a dilemma whether to do a homeschooling or whether to continue in the inclusive school. So I just wanted to know, because you already done the journey and you already know what you should be prepared for before
Yeah.
going for a decision of homeschooling. I just wanted to know for all the parents who are in a verge of deciding ki whether we have to go to a homeschool or we have to send to an inclusive school. What are the prerequisites, like what we should be prepared for?
What you should be prepared for in terms of
Like academics, anyhow, the material and all we'll be preparing, but the emotional the emotional part or the time management or like what are the things we should be almost like we just like having a special kid almost takes 1 or 2 years time to literally accept them and go with their pace. So so being we already done this journey for almost 4 years. So for a newly mom who is like who is newly diagnosed, for them we could at least give some advice ki ye sab hota hai, so you be prepared and all. So we are in a verge of deciding whether we have to do a homeschooling or send to a proper school like inclusive school. So I just wanted to know what are the things we should take care, like whether we are ready now for homeschooling, like we can do it, like what are the minimum things like which as a parent we should be ready for.
I think I had covered a lot of these aspects throughout the webinar, because there are so many factors involved in this. I am running out of time to
Yes, I
cover
think
all
you
of them again.
watch this webinar recordings. You will get all your answers in that. Next, I would like to ask, I mean, if you have any other questions than we have covered or any very specific one, then only we will take. Otherwise, we can end this session. Kanchan and Seba, you can ask.
Just last question. How to get in contact with you if we want to in future?
Hi, namaste. This is Sheba here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Preeti. You were
Hi.
actually my senior in school.
Really?
So I joined this, I wanted to just be a part of it.
Bethany, is it?
No, Mary Immaculate I was in, then Jyoti Nivas.
Jyoti Nivas. Okay.
Yeah. So probably school or
Small
college.
world.
Yeah.
College, yeah.
So I just wanted to be a part of this because I was listening from that time to all the mothers, especially that, special child. I think every child is special. Let it be for you know, I don't know. We can't call it special child. I think everybody is unique and they have their own capability and uniqueness in each one of them.
Yeah.
See, one question I had is, I could see everywhere that certificates have become so important and prior to everyone, and everybody's you know, striving to get their children certified. For
Yeah.
what? And what?
Yeah.
Because see, we ourselves, we have a Gurukula, and we
Okay.
don't even go for certification. We don't believe in it at all. Because I think if a child realizes what they really want to do and they're clear and we guide them, I think that they will know what to do with their life.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, what is that certificate? Is it so important? What is it for? Is it validating a child, or is it for our satisfaction?
I think a lot of,
what is it for?
I completely know what you mean. I think majority of parents, especially of special needs kids, are worried about their children's, you know, financial independence. That is the prime worry. And unfortunately, in this world, you need a certificate in order to get some kind of, you know, employment. I think it is that practical for most of the parents, from my experience. But
Yeah, go on.
But I completely, you know, agree with what you're saying. You know, is it all about the certificate? That's why I keep, you know, telling parents that please work on making the child independent, and the child's holistic development. Academics is just a part of it. You know, getting a certificate is a very, very small part of becoming independent, and that
Yeah,
is
I
what
know.
homeschooling is about. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the only question I have, because, you know, if a child knows what they have to do and they're, you know, and we identify that for them and guide them, I don't see the necessity of a certificate. The certification is for mostly to work under somebody, not
Yeah.
with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if a child really needs to be independent, they need to work with somebody, not under somebody.
Yeah.
So that confidence and attitude is what we work with.
Okay.
That attitude building. So even I really don't understand the experiences you all are going through, and you know, the concerns.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same for every child. You know, I don't I don't see any difference. They are born that way. These people are born this way, and it's all different. That's all is the difference, is what I feel.
That's a great thing actually to know that. I mean, we are talking about inclusion and exclusion. So it's a great to hear that our child are on, I mean, a normal track. Okay, with this, I think I want to just make one announcement for the day. Like, we are starting the homeschooling group, Sneak Rehab homeschooling group. I posted the link in the chat box, Telegram group. Preeti ma'am would be there to guide us on homeschooling. For further questions, you can join in there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And with that, I mean, she's there in our Snake Rehab Telegram group, active on that also.
I'm there. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So with this, I think we can stop here. Thank you so much, Preeti, for the very much informative session.
You are most welcome.
And thank you, parents, for joining us. We'll see you in the homeschooling group. And Preeti ma'am also have her separate groups also. You can join that also. I mean, we all are together. So
yes, absolutely.
we can work out everywhere. I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Chalo. Bye, Harshali. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Good night.